Let's get back to our top story. ISIS militants battling Iraqi troops for control of the country's largest oil refinery. The United States now estimates that ISIS may have as many as 10,000 fighters in Iraq and Syria. This says about 100 or 130 U.S. military advisors are in Iraq right now. Let's get the very latest on the crisis from a key insider joining us, the former Iraqi ambassador to the United States, Samir Sumaida. He also served as the Iraqi ambassador to the UN and the Iraqi Interior Minister. Mr. Ambassador, once again, welcome back to the Situation Room. 100 or 150 or 200 U.S. military advisors helping the Iraqi military. Realistically, Mr. Ambassador, is that going to make much of a difference?
Not in a military sense, but I think they can start at least by establishing the real situation, get high quality information. And as I see from your reports, there is a lot of aerial activity to survey the area and establish what's going on. So once you have facts, then you can move to the next.
You think the U.S. will start bombing targets, ISIS targets in Iraq?
The worst thing they can do, and the Iraqi military could do, is to bomb indiscriminately. Targeting the terrorist is fine. It should be done. They have to be contained. But we have to be careful not to make the populations in those areas suffer even more than they are suffering now. They are absolutely terrified. And as you see from your reports, many of them have fled. Those who could have fled.
But these ISIS terrorists, they've infiltrated within populated areas. It's not easy to go after them, and you're going to hit civilian casualties. I think there's no doubt about that.
That's right, but here we come back to the necessity for a political solution. This will not be solved in a sense, no way. The Americans, as I said in my last interview, the Americans had 170,000 boots on the ground, and they could not exterminate Daesh. You've got to have a political solution, and now is the time to do that.
So it's really up to the Iraqis themselves, the leadership in Baghdad, to get the job done. I want you to listen to what the Secretary of State John Kerry told our Jim Sciutto today in an interview in Iraq. Listen to this.
Words are cheap. I fully, I'm not taking anything I hear to the bank and saying, wow, it's going to be solved. But I'm hearing things that indicate to me that if they follow through on the things they're saying, there's a capacity to have a new government that could be a unity government, that could reflect a greater capacity for success.
You believe that Nouri al-Maliki, the current prime minister, he can really put together a unity government?
Well, three things characterized his rule over the last 8 years: sectarianism, corruption, and incompetence.
So the answer is no, he can't put together a unity government.
If he is a part of the problem.
How do you get rid of him?
Well, we have a political process. I think this shock to the system that ISIS has brought about could be an opportunity, could be a wake-up call.
Don't you think the Iranians, and he's been close to the Iranian leadership in Tehran, they're going to do everything they can to bolster him?
But what interest do the Iranians have in having a civil war raging next door? I'm sure they will begin to see that he is more of a burden than an asset. I believe that the political process now has to be redesigned. I agree generally with the Secretary Kerry that we need a unity government, but we need more than that. We need a national salvation government. The political process has to be redesigned. It cannot be business as usual.
It sounds to me like the Kurdish population, if you believe the Kurdish president up in Kurdistan, Masoud Barzani, he's basically given up. He told Christiane Amanpour, we cannot remain hostages for the unknown. The time is here for the Kurdistan people to determine their future, and the decision of the people is what we are going to uphold. Looks like the Kurds have already decided there's going to be an independent Kurdistan. They've got Kirkuk, that oil-rich area. They control it now. I don't think there's going to be any going back for them.
Well, I saw that interview, and 2 months ago I was sitting with President Barzani, and I had a one-on-one with him. Let's give them the credit at least that they are harboring hundreds of thousands of people from Mosul, from other areas. They have been trying also to get this political process to be moving, but it cannot unless everybody plays ball. At the moment, we need change in Baghdad.
And you believe that if the U.S. were to launch airstrikes, the Iraqi Air Force is trying to launch some airstrikes, but if the U.S. were to do so, it wouldn't be enough just to do it inside Iraq. You have to go after ISIS targets in Syria as well.
And even if they do that, it's not going to bring about the final solution. It cannot.
And you know that people in Baghdad, this is a city of, what, 7 million people, the capital of Iraq, they are terrified right now that these ISIS elements could come into the Iraqi capital.
Absolutely, but not only the people in Baghdad are terrified. The people who are under ISIS are terrified. Some of them have fled, and some of them don't know where to turn. These ISIS, look, 10,000, you're talking about 10,000. And you are talking also about 35% of the territory of Iraq. This 10,000 cannot administer that territory. It's impossible. So you can imagine the chaos that's about to be set off.
Ambassador, thanks very much for coming in. We'll continue to check in with you.
Thank you.
Samir Sumaida is the former Iraqi ambassador to the United States.